Get out. Writing checks doesn't make you one of us. My brother's voice growled through the door on Christmas Eve. Then fend for yourselves without my money, I shot back as I halted the mortgage payments, severed every financial tie, and left them to face the chill alone. I stood at the entrance, trembling in the cold. My breath formed small puffs in the frosty air, and even with mittens, my hands were numb. I rapped once, then rang the bell. Inside, holiday lights glimmered through the windows, and faint, genuine laughter drifted out. My mother's silhouette flickered behind the frosted glass. The door creaked open. "You've got the wrong house," she said evenly, her tone cool and her face unreadable. I gaped at her. "Mom, what's that supposed to mean?" She didn't flinch. "I don't know you. Are you serious?" "It's me," I insisted. She stayed silent. The door eased shut, not slammed, but closed with a quiet finality. I stood there, rooted to the spot, the cold outside nothing compared to the icy ache spreading within me. At first, I wondered if it was some cruel joke. Then more laughter seeped through the walls, the gentle clink of glasses, the cozy hum of festivity. I stepped back, turning toward the street. My phone vibrated in my coat. It was my brother. I picked up. My voice was taut. "Hello?" "Don't take it to heart," he said, half irritated, half apologetic. "We couldn't let you inside." "What?" I murmured, my gaze fixed on the glowing windows as my vision blurred. "You know how it goes. It's messy. Don't make a fuss." "A fuss?" My voice broke. Then I caught someone speaking behind him. "He still thinks covering bills earns him a place here." Silence. A deep, wounding silence. I ended the call without a word. My breaths came quick and furious, misting in the freezing air. I stood by my car, staring at the house I'd once kept afloat. Last year, when Dad fell behind on the mortgage, I'd stepped up. I paid their bills, bought groceries, funded holiday gifts when Mom couldn't, and now they acted like I was a stranger. I unlocked my phone with steady fingers. I opened my banking app. My thumb paused briefly before I began making changes. The auto pay for rent? Stopped. The joint account for emergencies? Terminated. The spare card I'd given Ethan for fuel? Deactivated. Each tap felt like locking a gate, and I felt no sorrow, no guilt, just clarity. Cold, sharp clarity. As I drove off, my phone buzzed relentlessly. Mom, Dad, Ethan, even my aunt. They all called, likely thinking I was overreacting. I didn't answer. I didn't even glance at the screen. By morning, I had 61 missed calls, and I felt nothing at all. I hadn't always been an outsider. For most of my life, I was the one who stepped in, who fixed things. When Dad's job was cut 3 years back, my salary kept the house running. When Mom needed urgent dental care, they used my card. Ethan, just out of school and still finding his way, relied on me, and I never grumbled. That's what families do, isn't it? They support each other, and I was good at supporting. I landed a solid job after college and climbed fast. They called it fortune. I called it skipping nights out, eating instant noodles, and living in a cramped studio for years, but that didn't matter. I was the one they turned to when things went wrong. "Anthony, dear, can you cover the utility bill?" "Jake?" "Ethan's short on gas again. Can you send cash?" "Sweetheart, your dad's under pressure. Can you handle the mortgage this month?" A little help turned into years of it. I became their silent safety net. No one saw me unless they needed something. The first time it stung was last Thanksgiving. I funded it all. The ham, the pies, even the fancy cider Dad loved. But when it was time for the family photo, they asked me to step aside and snap it. "Jake, come on," Mom said, brushing me off. "We just want the family in this one." I chuckled like it was nothing. A mistake, right? But after that, the slights piled up. Ethan got a shiny new truck for his birthday. Our parents handed it to him. When I asked why I'd never gotten anything like that, Mom laughed and said, "Oh, Jake, you've never needed help. You're so self-sufficient." That word, self-sufficient, just meant they expected me to handle everything solo. I told myself it was fine. I was the elder son. I was meant to be the dependable one. But then came the subtle digs, the small barbs that hurt more than I'd admit. He acts like paying a few bills makes him one of us. He loves flashing money around. What else does he even bring? And the sharpest cuts came from Mom, wrapped in a sugary smile. "Ethan's got real promise. If only you'd do more for him." "More?" I cleared Ethan's student loans. I covered his rent when he quit his job to explore. I co-signed his credit card to boost his score. But when I hinted I was struggling, Mom's voice turned cool, low. "Anthony, family means sacrifice sometimes. We've always been there for you." There for me? I recalled my 27th birthday. No calls, no visits, nothing. I recalled paying Dad's medical bill after he fell on icy steps, and they didn't even tell me he'd recovered until weeks later. I recalled canceling a trip with friends because Ethan called, sobbing about bills again. But something shattered inside me that Christmas Eve, standing in the cold, staring at the door they'd barred against me. They didn't see me as family. I was their ATM. I thought of how I'd paid for the roof repairs last summer when it was crumbling. I recalled slipping $300 into Mom's bag to ease her stress. I remembered Ethan grinning at his birthday bash, the one I funded. I saw Mom embrace him and say, "We're so proud of you." Proud of what? That he's skilled at spending my cash? But the truth hit me fully when I heard his voice that night. He still thinks covering rent earns him a spot here. I sat in my small apartment, staring at the tiny Christmas tree flickering in the corner. The lights seemed to taunt me. My phone kept buzzing. Mom, Anthony, it's Christmas. Pick up. Ethan, stop this nonsense. Let's talk. Dad, your mom's in tears. Call her. But the messages were all the same. No apologies, no remorse, just demands, as always. I leaned back, eyes on the ceiling. How long had I done this? How many times had I saved them without being valued? I was never in the family photo. I was the unseen glue holding it together. The next day, I called the bank. I stopped all auto payments. I removed my name from the shared account for crises. I canceled Mom's credit card, the one I'd backed. I deactivated Ethan's gas card, the one he used for job hunts. Then I called the landlord who manages their rental. My voice was calm. "Hi, I'm just letting you know I won't be covering their rent anymore. I didn't send a note. I didn't explain. I just stopped. I brewed coffee and watched snow pile up outside. My phone kept ringing. I didn't pick up. I didn't check who called. And for the first time in years, a warmth bloomed in my chest. Not guilt, not grief. It was peace. It was freedom." Within a day, chaos erupted. The first call I took was from Mom. Her voice was shrill, frantic. "Anthony, what have you done? The rent's overdue. The cards declined. Did you cut us off?" "Yes," I said evenly. I wasn't angry, just weary. "You can't do this!" she shrieked. "Ethan needs fuel. We need rent money. Your dad—" "I don't care." She went quiet. For once, she was speechless. I imagined her standing there, stunned, her mouth opening and shutting like she was gasping for air. "Anthony," she whispered, her tone turning icy. "You're being so selfish." "Selfish?" I gave a short, bitter laugh. "Was it selfish when I paid your water bill last month? When I covered Dad's prescriptions because insurance failed? When I funded Ethan's graduation trip? That was a gift," she snapped, her voice hard, all warmth gone. "You don't get to hold that over us." "A gift," I said, leaning back in my chair, staring at my plain wall. "A gift comes from the heart, not because it's demanded. You don't understand how hard it is for your brother. Not everyone's got it as good as you," Mom fired back. "Good?" I laughed louder. "You mean working 60 hours a week while he streams games? Watching you praise him while I'm treated like a cash dispenser? Calm down," she hissed, her voice tight and cold. "Family means giving up things." "Then why don't you give up something?" I yelled before I could stop. "Why not sell that flashy truck Dad bought, skip the trips you post about online, and maybe tell Ethan to get a job?" A pause, then a sharp breath on her end. "I don't even recognize you, Anthony. You're being cruel." "No, Mom," I said firmly. "I'm just speaking the truth at last." I let the silence linger. Then I hung up. The next call was Ethan. His voice was quieter, but the bite was still there. "Dude, what's your deal?" Mom's sobbing. "Dad's freaking out. You really just cut everything off like that?" "Yeah, man, you can't just bail. We're family." "We're not," I said flatly. "Not anymore. Wait, you're for real." His voice faltered, disbelief clear. But the anger was there too. "You're doing this over money? You think it's about money?" I snapped. "You mean the rent I covered for you? The card I co-signed? The cash for your streaming subscriptions? Or maybe the utilities I paid while Mom and Dad played rich? You're so—" "No, I'm not confused. I finally see clearly. I was never your brother. I was your fallback. That ends now. You're overreacting," he said, trying to sound tough. But I heard the panic beneath. "You're really gonna wreck Christmas over this?" I gave a bitter chuckle. "Was I even invited to Christmas? Or was I just supposed to fund it and stay outside?" "I can't believe you," he yelled. "You don't have to." I said it simply. I meant it. I was done. I was free. Then the group text landed. A final strike. Mom. Family meeting. Everyone to the house. I thought about ignoring it, staying warm in my quiet apartment, letting them argue without me, but something cold and fierce sparked inside. I grabbed my jacket, locked up, and drove. The house looked like a holiday card. Lit windows, a festive wreath, red ribbons, and pine cones perfectly arranged. I didn't knock. I walked in. They were all there. Mom's eyes were red from crying. Dad paced by the hearth, hands balled into fists. Ethan slouched on the sofa, swiping at his phone. Mom rushed toward me, tears streaming. "Anthony, this has gone too far. We're family. We don't abandon each other." "You abandoned me?" I shouted. The room fell still. Mom stared, shocked. Dad stopped pacing. Even Ethan looked up, jaw slack. "You abandoned me when you locked me out, when you mocked me behind my back, when you treated me like I was just here to pay your way." "That's not true," Mom gasped. "You're our son." "Are I?" I stepped closer, my chest blazing with years of pent-up pain. "Where was I when you needed rent money, roof fixes, Dad's car repairs? I was there every time. But on Christmas, you left me freezing like I didn't exist." "You don't understand," Dad muttered, almost softly. "Then explain it," I said. He looked at Mom, then Ethan. No one spoke. "Exactly," I said, turning to leave. "Wait," Mom cried, her voice sharp and desperate. "You can't go. We're family. Family sacrifices." I cut her off. "Then you sacrifice. Because I'm done." Ethan leapt up, face flushed. "So you're just gonna run off with your cash? Sit in your fancy apartment while we struggle?" I laughed in his face. "You're 26 and still mooching off Mom and Dad. You're not struggling, you're leeching." "Enough," Dad roared, his voice echoing through the room. "Anthony," he said softer, "we can fix this. Come back. Help us like always." Mom's face crumpled, her voice trembling. "Anthony, please. We're your family. We love you." I looked at her, then at Dad, stunned. At Ethan, glaring with that same resentful stare. I felt nothing, just a cold, clear resolve. "Love?" I said quietly. "You loved my money. I was never loved. Just used because I was useful." I turned, walked out, and left them in their warm, picture-perfect house. The icy air stung my face, but it felt good. It felt like freedom. My phone rang, but I didn't answer. I let it ring and die out. The road stretched quiet and open before me. Calls kept coming. Texts, voicemails, a deluge of messages. I didn't read them. Mom's texts shifted from pleading to guilt. "Anthony, please. We're your family. How could you do this to us? Your dad's health is failing from the stress. Is that what you want?" Ethan's were shorter, angrier. "Seriously? You ditched us? You ruined everything. Do you even realize what you've done?" But things exploded 3 days later when they showed up at my door. Mom looked like she'd cried for days, her face puffy and raw. Dad stood behind, rigid, hands buried in his coat. "We need to talk," Mom said, trying to step inside. I blocked the doorway. "No, we don't." "What do you mean?" "No," Dad growled, his voice low and menacing. "You've turned our lives upside down. Canceled cards. Stopped rent. Are you out of your mind?" I leaned against the frame, arms crossed. "You think I'm crazy because I finally said no?" Mom burst into tears. "We're your parents. Your dad's health is crumbling." "That's not my fault," I said calmly. "It never was. It's on you." "Listen to yourself," Dad shouted, stepping closer. "You're throwing a tantrum over nothing. This is your home. We're your family. You shut me out," I yelled. "I came for Christmas and you left me freezing outside. I paid your rent, your bills, kept everything going, and you treated me like I didn't belong." "Anthony, don't exaggerate," Mom whispered, voice shaky. "Exaggerate?" I said, voice cold. "Let me refresh your memory." The whispers behind my back, a brother who sees me as a bank, parents who smile when they need cash, then vanish when I need support. "That's not true," Mom said softly, but guilt flickered in her eyes. "It is." I pulled out my phone, found the recording from that night, and hit play. Ethan's voice rang out clear and cutting. He still thinks paying bills earns him a place here. Silence. Mom's face drained of color. Dad's jaw tightened, his eyes flicking to Ethan. "I didn't mean it like that," Ethan stammered, stepping forward. "Come on, Jake. You know I was just venting. I cut him off." "That's what you all think, isn't it?" Mom whispered through tears. "We do love you." "No," I said. "You love what I provide." Dad's temper flared, his voice a low snarl. "Enough. You're acting like a spoiled kid. You think you're above us because you earn a paycheck?" "I don't think I'm above you," I said. "I just know I deserve respect, and if I can't have that, I'll take peace." Dad gave a hollow laugh. "Cutting off your family isn't peace. It's cold-blooded." "Cold-blooded?" I raised my voice, letting it all pour out. "You want to talk about cold-blooded? It's using me over and over, mocking me after I helped, never asking if I'm okay. Cold-blooded is treating me like I owe you just for being born." "Anthony," Mom choked out, "we didn't know you felt this way because you never asked." I stepped back and began closing the door. "Now you can feel what I've felt for years, alone." "Wait," Mom sobbed, reaching out. But I shut the door. I stood there, chest heaving, her cries muffled through the wood. For a moment, guilt surged, but then I remembered. The laughter behind the locked door, the quiet insults I wasn't meant to hear, how I was always needed but never wanted. I silenced my phone. I went to the kitchen, poured coffee, and sat by the window. Snow fell softly, serene and quiet. It was the kind of calm I hadn't known in years. They knocked for 10 more minutes. I didn't budge. I didn't even look. An hour later, the buzzing resumed. More calls, more texts. I ignored them all, didn't check, didn't care. By morning, I had over 80 missed calls, but I felt steady, deeply steady. For once, I wasn't drowning. I was free. I woke to silence, not heavy, not tense, but pure. No ringing, no desperate voicemails, just soft light filtering through the blinds. It felt like peace. Days became weeks. I grew accustomed to the quiet. At first, it felt odd, too still, but each day it was like breathing clean air after years underwater. I worked without interruption. I cooked for myself. I took long walks, leaving my phone unchecked, but the world kept turning. One morning, by the mailbox, my neighbor Sarah murmured, "Did you hear? Your parents lost their place." Her voice was soft, curious, tinged with pity. "Your mom's blaming your dad. And Ethan, he's working at the grocery store now." I nodded. "Yeah, I heard," I said. "What happened?" she asked, eyes probing. I didn't reply. I just smiled and went inside. Later, I found an old photo album buried in my closet. I hadn't touched it in years. I turned the pages. Smiling faces, old birthdays, summer picnics. There I was, a kid grinning at the camera, unaware of what lay ahead. Then my phone buzzed. A new text. "Anthony, we've lost it all. Your dad blames me. Ethan won't speak to me. Please, we were wrong. I'm sorry. Come back." I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered for a second. Then I deleted it. No anger, no guilt, just a deep, quiet sense of freedom. I slid the album back onto the closet's top shelf. It was my past, but only a piece of it. I stepped outside. The cold air filled my lungs. The sky stretched wide and clear above. And for the first time in years, I smiled. Not because someone needed me, but because I didn't need them. So, what are your thoughts on this story? Do you agree with what happened, or do you see it differently? Let us know your opinion in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories. See you in the next one.